Connecting. Okay. Hey everyone, welcome. This is Darius Slayer, and with me is Tony Polanco from Geek.com and also the Coalition, and he has his own podcast called the Throwdown Podcast. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. What's going on, people?
I know, right? It's been a crazy summer. Crazy summer, and it's all good for gamers. Like, I don't even know where to start for gamers. Like, we have Sanoa. Hellblade, Sanoa's Sacrifice. I don't know if you played that.
Oh, yeah. I played that.
Yeah.
That was a great game, yeah.
That was, to me, a work of art. And when Torrance Davis made that comparison shot between that game and Mass Effect Andromeda, a lot of people were comparing it like, oh, well, you can't compare it because, Mass Effect is like a 70-hour game and whatnot. But it's like, that's not the point. The point is, a small company made a better looking game than Mass Effect, which is owned by a bigger company that has a lot more money that could have been put into.
Yeah, it kind of goes to show you that, you really don't need that much money, as long as you have the talent.
Yeah, exactly. And you always hear from these big companies like EA saying, oh, well, they put in the love and the time to make this game. It's like, really? Well, then I guess all their faces must have been tired.
Yeah. Exactly, man, because there's no excuse now. There really isn't. You can't get away with that shit when, like, that's why I'm kind of glad Senua's Sacrifice came out. It's like, yeah, guys, why don't you do this with your game? But even though with Mass Effect, it's weird because, Mass Effect Andromeda had these, like, funky-ass faces, yet you go back to the, Mass Effect 1 had better faces. Like, wait, okay, come on, guys, you're fucking up here.
Yeah, exactly. There was just so many things that was just wrong with that game.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. But the game was good. I mean, granted, it was like kind of hollow, on the gameplay front.
Yeah.
But it was still a really good experience,
Yeah, you heard that they're not going to create any more like DLC or anything like that for a single player.
Good. Yeah, you don't leave that alone, man.
Yeah.
Here's the thing I like about whatchamacallit, Ninja Theory.
Mm-hmm.
They don't make sequel games. You notice that? Like, they don't make sequels to their games. They just release one game and that's it,
Yeah. Well, I'm talking about Mass Effect though.
Oh, Mass Effect? Yeah, I heard about it. Well,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big surprise there.
Yeah, I'm like, really?
That's a big surprise there. Yeah, I mean, it is kind of sad because every other Mass Effect game, even the first one, had a bunch of DLC, right?
Yeah.
Not this one, but, considering how it all went over and stuff, not surprised at all, man.
And
it's
also,
a damn shame.
Yeah. Also because they're focusing on Anthem as well. And we'll see how Anthem does. I'm not having my hopes up for that, but it looks good. Don't get me wrong, it does look good, but so did Mass Effect before it came out.
Yeah, I don't know, man. To me, Anthem looks like a fucking like a Destiny clone. I'm like, whatever,
Yeah. Speaking of clones, there's a game that came out recently called 20XX, and a friend of mine had worked on it. He's the artist for it, and it's like Mega Man. If you're a Mega Man fan, you can get for like $15 on Steam right now. If you love Mega Man, and you were so pissed about Mighty Number 9. Get
God.
20XX. I'm telling you right now, you will not regret getting it because it plays like Mega Man, like any of the X games. And you can play, awesome. And they're implementing co-op, be it local or online, as well. And
that's pretty cool.
There's a multitude of power-ups you can get, combinations of equipment, all that. It's really well done. Well thought out, game design, and here's the thing: the stages are randomly generated.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
So you're not going through the same game twice.
Yeah.
And there's boss rush mode. There's daily challenges, daily hardcore challenges, weekly hardcore challenges, speed runs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they thought of everything within that game.
Yeah, I'm looking at. I just went to Steam now, looking at the gameplay. That's crazy, man. Look at this thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so much fun, and trust me, if you're a Mega Man fan, get this game.
That's awesome. By the way, here's a confession. I've never played any Mega Man X games. I've played all the original ones. I even played 9 and 10. Never played an X game. So this will be interesting,
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's my shout out to them, to the developers, for doing such an amazing job.
No, Capcom doesn't sue him.
Oh man, Capcom doesn't care about Mega Man. What are they gonna do?
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
because I'm looking at something like, I'm like, that is blatantly a Mega Man or Mega Man X.
Yeah, it is. But at the same time, it's like, Keiji Inafune, he shot himself in the foot too.
Yeah. Yeah, I was talking to some friends and we were talking about, like, yeah, man, he kind of delivered 2 turds last year.
Yeah.
And Mighty Number 9 and Recore.
Yeah. And it's like, all these people who are fans of Keiji Inafune tried to defend him and all that.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, you just can't do that. You can't do that with him. Not anymore. And especially, It was strange how he went with Concept, who has like this streak of really bad game design and just being terrible with their, fans or with the community. So it's like, what were you trying to accomplish there?
I don't know. The whole thing was just a mess.
Yeah.
The guy tarnished his name basically.
Mm-hmm. But you know what didn't tarnish its name? Sonic Mania.
Oh yeah, Sonic Mania, man. I love this game.
Oh, go off on it. Tell me about it. Preach it.
Dude, this is the game like I've personally been waiting for since the end of Sonic and Knuckles, which is like over 25 years ago or something like that.
Damn.
It's crazy, man. I'm going to be honest, right? Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, they were alright, but every 3D Sonic game that I've played has been abysmal. I heard Sonic Generation's good, but I never played it. Fucking trash, man. And it seems like every time Sonic, Sega tried to do something with it, they just like went off in these weird directions. Like there was one where like Sonic was like making out with a human girl.
Yeah. There's that one where he became like a werewolf or something.
Yeah, it's like, what are you guys doing? And then the fans have been asking for a proper Sonic game for years, and then Sega's like, okay, you want a 2D Sonic game, right? Here's Sonic 4. Oh my god. How horrible was that game, because it was like a 2D 3D game and the physics were all off.
Yeah. Yeah. And here's the thing, wasn't Sonic Mania made by like fans?
Yeah, that's the funny thing. I was talking to some friends about this and we were like, isn't it kind of funny that the best Sonic game in like 25 years isn't even made by Sonic Team?
Mm-hmm.
Made by some fans, Christian Whitehead, he's the lead guy on it. The whole story is just insane. So he made his own Sonic games, right? Fan games. Then he presented like a prototype of Sonic CD, and Sega was like, okay, make that for us. And then him and a bunch of other guys, other Sonic fan guys, they got together and created Sonic Mania, all with Sega's blessing and funding. Totally different than Nintendo. Remember what happened with AM 2R? Whew, they killed that shit real fast. What was the name of the Pokemon game? They killed that shit too.
Oh yeah. I know which one you're talking about.
I was watching Digital Foundry's breakdown of Sonic Mania, and I love the way they ended the video. They're like, Sega let the fans make this game, so in that way, Sega does what Nintendo don't.
Oh, that last punch right there. Last little punch. Oh man.
Yeah, no, Sonic Mania is so good in so many ways, man. And the thing is like, it's both old school and still modern. It still has like flares of a modern game. And I also appreciate the fact that, because remember in the old games, if you wanted all the Chaos Emeralds, you got to keep playing the entire game over and over and over and over again until you get all of them in one run. Now, anything you collect stays, in like the main menu. So you don't have to keep replaying the entire game. I mean, I don't mind doing that, but you could actually just go to certain levels, find where the giant rings are, get in there and go nuts, It's crazy. That way you can get the real ending of the game. This is how obsessed I am with this game. So I got it on PS4. I even got the collector's edition. I usually don't mess around with the collector's edition. So I got that. And then I also bought it on Switch. And when it comes to PC, I plan to buy it on that too. I want this game to succeed so badly. So I'm perfectly fine buying that shit 3 times,
Didn't you get like the special edition or the collector's edition?
Yeah. I got it for PS4, man, it's sweet. It's like it comes with like a Sonic statue that's on top of a Sega Genesis.
Nice.
And it's like scale too, it's like the actual size of a Genesis. The only thing is it's weird because it's not the Genesis we remember. It's more like the Mega Drive,
Okay.
Which is, that's what they call the Genesis over the rest of the world. But, Yeah, it's like a mix of a Mega Drive and a Sega Genesis. It came with like a little. It came with this like kind of metal card. It was supposed to have the code on it, but it didn't for some reason. So now you just have a random metal card, and also with like a replica Sonic Mania cartridge that has like a gold ring in it, which is really cool.
It's different.
Yeah, no, I love the game. The soundtrack is amazing. I listen to the soundtrack all the time, man.
So Philip from he's on YouTube. He asks, can you ask him what he thinks of developers releasing a game with all DLC in a bundle like Metal Gear Solid 5 or Mortal Kombat X after the public have paid for the stuff in the first place?
You mean like what collector's editions or something like, or game of the year editions?
Yeah.
This may not be a popular opinion, but that's business. I don't mind that.
Yeah.
It's like if you're gonna be an early adopter, you have to accept the fact that you're probably gonna end up paying more than somebody else who decides to wait.
Yeah. I've fallen for that. Everyone has fallen for that.
Yeah, I don't mind. I don't. It's the whole thing where people say, "Oh, exclusives are anti-consumer." No, they're not. No one's preventing you from buying those games. You just got to buy the system.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't mind that at all because how many times haven't that happened to you? You buy a game because I'm sure you're like me. You buy games close to launch or at launch, and then a year later you come out with like the better edition with everything in it. It's like, yeah, that kind of stinks, but at the same time, you made the choice of buying it first.
Yeah, I've fallen for that.
Yeah, it's kind of like microtransactions. Like people vilify microtransactions. I'm like, listen, as long as no one's forcing you to use them to buy shit, as long as you can unlock everything, I don't mind microtransactions. That's fine, whatever. It's like this is the gaming industry. People forget the industry part of it. That means these companies are out there to make money, right?
Yep.
So they got to make their money any way they can. So stuff like that, I don't mind as long as it's not like a jerk move or whatever. I really don't care. I remember Dead Space 3.
I was about to bring that up too. Dead Space.
Yeah, people vilify that. I'm like, listen, I played that whole game. I love Dead Space 3. I thought it was better than Dead Space 2. Mm-hmm. I never paid an extra dime for any of that shit. And my gameplay experience wasn't like lessened because of that.
Yeah, and like the new Shadow of Mordor game, that's supposed to have the it's not pay to win, but it's more like pay for like a different experience.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, don't get me wrong. I at the end of the day, I understand why people complain, and I do like fundamentally think it's kind of silly, but at the same time, I can't begrudge a company trying to make money.
Yeah, same.
So yeah, whatever. Yeah, I mean, Shadow of War, that's a game I'm hyped up for too. I'm not gonna spend any more than I have to on the game. I'll just get the game and that's it.
I'm on the fence about it because the whole thing that threw me off, like people are calling they talked about the combat being great. I'm like, it was clunky. It was really clunky.
What, for the first game?
Yeah.
I disagree with that. It played exactly like exactly like a fucking Batman game, like an Arkham game.
Yeah,
like
it did, but it failed in my opinion. It's like I just had a really bad time with it.
Wow, yeah, it's interesting you say that because to me that was actually one of my games. Like I like on my podcast over, and that was our collective game of the year that year.
Okay.
We don't usually agree on games on my show, so it was crazy that we all pretty much unanimously go, "Yep, that's the game right there." We all loved it. That Nemesis system really took things like above and beyond. All of us had completely different experiences with the same game,
Yeah, but it was broken at the same time.
Was it? I didn't experience any of that stuff.
Like, all right, I decapitated an orc, right?
Yeah.
And he comes back. It's like, oh, I remember you. And I'm like, yeah, and I remember cutting off your head.
Interesting. Well, I mean, decapitated orcs, they do come back, but you see them with their like head stitched up. It's like, okay, little silly, but at least they're trying to rationalize it, Oh, you cut off me head. It's like, oh, someone stitched your head together. I don't know if orcs can survive that, but okay.
Yeah. It's magic. That's
I don't consider that a bug. It's just like, okay, it's just a weird feature, But I love the game, and I love those shit talking orcs, and I love fucking with, it's like I would run up on them with like monsters and stuff, and they'd be like, oh, he's gonna sneak up on us with a big beast. He is.
Oh right, yeah. And I do admit I like using the environment to my advantage, which is kind of like Assassin's Creed-ish.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the game was basically Assassin's Creed and Batman Arkham mixed together. Like, because I think they had guys from both of those studios working on the game, so they were like, "Yep, here you go." Actually, I heard that like the source code of Assassin's Creed 2 was used for this thing, which doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of Assassin's Creed, you heard about Final Fantasy 15 having that Assassin's Creed DLC?
Yeah, I reported on that yesterday, man. That was a
Yeah.
fun like thing to like. Okay, I like when that happens. Like, remember when Final Fantasy 13 2 had Mass Effect costumes and stuff, the
Yep.
N7.
Yep.
You know, I like that sort of stuff. The only thing is, they talked about all the Assassin's Creed stuff that's going to be in Final Fantasy 15. They didn't talk about the Final Fantasy 15 stuff in Assassin's Creed Origin.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so I'm assuming they're going to talk about that at a later date. You know.
And it's pretty cool when companies do that. They do that little mashup, as I like to call it, you know?
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, no, it's awesome. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna pick up Final Fantasy. I mean, I have Final Fantasy 15, but I don't know if I'm gonna like boot it up again just for that. But I like
Yeah.
the idea behind it.
Yeah, for me, it's like I completed Final Fantasy 15. I not gone through the entirety of New Game Plus, but I don't see a point in me doing that right now, especially with like so many other games that are out.
Yeah, exactly. Like to me, I'm like, okay, I got the platinum in that game. I'm good. I don't need to go back now.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't do the New Game Plus or any of that shit.
Yeah, Platinum was relatively easy to get, and you already got
Yeah.
Platinum in Horizon Zero Dawn, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I am planning to get the platinum in Hellblade too.
Oh,
I'll-
yeah. I'm missing the Runestone.
Yep, that's the same one. And I didn't realize until like maybe halfway through the game, I'm like, oh, it actually tells you what runestones are coming up next and which ones you're missing. So it kind of sucks that I have two runestones missing at the beginning of the game and then one near the end of the game. It's like, God damn it, because you can't, there is a new game plus. So I was hoping I could just play a little bit of the beginning, get those two runestones, get my platinum, but I'm gonna have to actually play through a significant part of the amount of the game to get the platinum. But it's all right. The game's short, so whatever.
Yeah, the game is relatively short, especially if you already know what you're going to do and if you're like really good at the combat.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the combat is really good in that game, man. I know some people were complaining about it, but I liked it. It's Ninja Theory, man. They're good. They're good with that sort of stuff.
Yeah, like, oh my god, that game is so good. Philip says, I think every game should have New Game Plus. It just makes sense for the player.
Yeah, I agree. Like, remember back in the day, like, you played those long-ass JRPGs, and they, the only way to, like, some of them would have New Game Plus, but most of them wouldn't. And that kind of always sucked because it's like, hey, I want to play through the game again, but I don't want to go through all the grinding and shit. You still there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's just a huge fucking owl beast was getting on my ass.
Oh no.
Yeah, playing Dauntless, but I don't know, like with the amount of and I died.
Oh no.
Yeah. This game is fun though, but it has its quirks. Definitely has its quirks. But yeah, no. You heard about the Secret of Mana remake coming out on Steam,
Yeah, man.
and but it's not coming out on Switch though,
Yeah, which is kind of weird.
because it started off on Super Nintendo.
Yeah, it did. I don't know. I don't know. It's like even Mega Man Legacy Collection, right? Is not on Switch. I'm like, but Mega Man 7 was exclusively on Super Nintendo. What the fuck?
Yeah. I don't know what happened there with the with Nintendo.
Yeah, but I said this on the podcast last night. I suspect that next year there's probably going to be more third-party games on Switch because the system's probably going to be more successful.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely. That's how it always is with Nintendo systems, man. Like, if you notice that every single generation, people are like, oh, there's not that many exclusives. They're going down. They're going to, fail.
Yeah.
And then what happens the following year? They win. They're like top of the game once again.
Yeah, except for the Wii U.
Well, yeah. I mean, not every company is perfect.
But I think the Switch is going to probably have a pretty good year next year. But and I suspect a lot of these games that naturally would have been on the Switch will be there. Like, don't be surprised if you eventually see Persona 5 on that thing, man.
I wouldn't be surprised either. I mean, that system can hold its own.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Persona 5 is on PS3. Why can't it be on a Switch?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I mean, that game isn't like, graphically intensive.
No, not really. Like on PS4, the most it does is like it runs at 60 frames. That's about it. You know?
Yeah, it'll do just fine on there. My God.
Yeah, the Switch is an interesting case because obviously when it first came out, it really wasn't worth buying, right? There was nothing on the system, but you got to give Nintendo credit. Every month they drop a new AAA game on that thing. Now you look back, it's like, oh shit, I got 6 or 7 big games I can play on this thing, and by the end of the year, there's going to be even more, especially with Mario.
Oh, yep, Mario Odyssey.
Like just I think they just dropped, or they're about to drop the Rabbit game, right?
Yep.
That's another big one. You can't really dismiss that. And then the other thing is, the Switch guys, unlike Xbox fanboys, they buy games. They buy those games, man. It's crazy. Look at Mario Kart. Look at ARMS, fucking Splatoon. All these games are selling.
Yep. But that takes me to the next subject, man. All these Xbox guys, they have a really good summer going on, man. All these exclusives happen. Oh.
Yeah, right. Oh, not so much.
No, I'm sorry.
Man, this is a bad year for Xbox. It is like
what
horrible.
happened? But,
like, I don't even know how to answer that. It's like, I mean, I have a theory. I could be wrong about it because I read that apparently Microsoft. Again, I'm not saying I'm saying this. I've just read this that apparently Microsoft has kind of cut the budget of the Xbox division, or they're at least not giving them as much money as they would have, so they have to like make sacrifices, right? And you're seeing that right now. They canceled Scalebound. They delayed Crackdown. Man, that Crackdown, that was a blow. That was a huge blow because that was going to be their premier game for 2017. Now he's like, okay, you're gonna have this quote unquote most powerful console ever coming out there. The fuck are you gonna play on that thing?
Yeah. Well, isn't Platinum Games? Aren't they going to do like a Scalebound anyways? For that thing is canceled, man. That thing is completely canceled. Shit. Man, and I heard some shit. I can't even say this live on air. From some insiders. I'm like, damn, man. It is bad what happened with that game, Well, Platinum, they own the IP, right?
I think Microsoft does.
Oh, well.
So, yeah.
What about the assets? Like,
I don't know, man. That's
the thing. Like, Platinum could do a Scalebound like game. That's happened before in the past, where a company breaks ties off of a publisher, and they're like, all right, we can't do this game, but we can make something like it.
Yeah, I mean, that's possible, but like I said, I heard the game was very, very, very close to being, finished, but shit happened. But yeah, Microsoft, they're not having a good year at all, man. Like, and it's funny because, again, they have this new system coming out and there's nothing to play on it. Now, don't get me wrong. It's not like, I'm not saying the PS4 Pro had much, but Microsoft, it's a more expensive system. They're promising so much, and unless you're like a devout like Microsoft guy, I don't really see a reason to buy this thing, man. What's your take on the Xbox One X, man?
Xbox One is like a downgraded PC.
Yeah,
that's all it is. I mean, even for PS4 as well. But unlike the Xbox, hey, that X1 X guy 76, I was about to say, are you an Xbox fan? But like, that's the thing with both systems, with all systems, even the Switch, downgraded PCs. If you want to play a game at like the best quality of graphics, play it PC. It's no duh.
Yeah.
But Sony, they know their exclusives. And Sony, being a Japanese company, have stronger ties with Japanese developers, have better offices, all over the world. Come on.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's like even when the Pro came out, it's like okay, maybe there's not a lot of games like enhanced for it, but there's still a shit ton of exclusives for the system. And now, 2017, as you already saw, the exclusives just keep coming. So by
Yeah.
the time the fall comes around, it's like okay, great, you have the quote unquote most powerful console on the market, but PlayStation, I'm going to say this right now, that price of the Pro is going to drop. That's going to probably be 350. It's
Yep.
going to have a shit ton of games to play. And let's not forget about all those bundles coming, right?
Mm-hmm.
Destiny 2 is getting a bundle, Call of Duty's getting a bundle, some other shit. I'm probably missing a couple, but it's getting a lot of bundles. And you know how people are when, because they
Yeah.
have third-party getting exclusives for this thing. They're going to be like, oh shit, I can only play Destiny 2 on PlayStation. I better cop a PlayStation, you
Yep.
know?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, it is available on Xbox, but they don't know that. Most casuals do not, go that far. I'll tell you this quick story. You know how many times I went to GameStop last generation and I would hear somebody go, "Man, I wish Call of Duty was on PlayStation." Like, bro, are you kidding me? But again, they see the advertisement, they see that
Yeah.
big Xbox 360 logo on it, like, oh fuck, that's an exclusive.
Yep. Yeah. That's so true. Philip asks, "What's your opinion on VR? Do you think it will be a success in time?" Uh oh. That laugh says it all.
Yo, like, okay, no, I appreciate the question, obviously, but the question itself makes me laugh because, like, do you think VR will take off in time? VR did not take off at all. That thing, I called it on my podcast. Gaming VR, dead in the water, and I was proven right. Obviously, the system sold well initially, but after the initial buzz wore off, people were like, okay, what do I play on these things?
Yeah, exactly. And they checked out the games too, and they were not
Yeah,
impressive.
so
It's like unless they match the quality of the games that are non VR, I will not touch it.
yeah, and here's the funny thing, and we pointed this out on the show too. The ironic thing is the one game that's really great on VR is Resident Evil 7, right? The problem is people are too scared to play it in VR. you
Hmm.
know? So it's like, okay, you have this perfect game that shows off VR, but no one wants to get a heart attack playing that shit. The game is scary enough already, but yeah, VR, that, gaming VR, I need to stress gaming VR because VR as a technology, I really think it's going to keep improving, right?
Yeah.
In other fields, like it'll help doctors or whatever, construction workers,
Yep. Self
you know,
defense and all
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. All that shit is gonna VR is gonna be really, really good in that sense.
Well, here
Gaming
let
field,
me let me
yeah,
expand a little bit on that. From what I heard from a certain person in military is that it's already so good,
yeah.
and it's way beyond what the consumer and the public have.
Oh yeah, 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 for sure.
That's all I can say about that.
I could believe
So,
that. I could believe
yeah.
that. Yeah, VR as a technology, it is here to stay, and it'll keep improving.
Hmm.
For gaming, I'm not so sure because again, people are used to this typical gaming experience. They get home, sit down on their couch, pick up a controller, turn on the console, play a game. That's it. They don't want to,
Yeah.
come in, strap all this shit on their head,
Hmm.
clear the immediate area around them in case they knock anything down. Nobody wants to do that shit.
Yeah.
You know?
How many family members? How many households? Can do that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, and if you live in a small apartment like me, you ain't doing that shit. I was playing some VR, I was knocking everything down. Like, no, man, this is not an optimal way to game. It really isn't. It's yeah, VR, that thing is done. That is a gaming platform. That thing is done.
Yeah.
It's proven. No one's buying this shit anymore.
Yeah. Someone's uh the what that one guy says Destiny 2 is a sad sequel.
Oh, Destiny 2. I'm not getting roped into that, man.
Hmm.
Like, because I played the first Destiny and I liked it a lot for a month, and then it's like, oh, okay, so it's just nothing but an endless grind, you know? So,
Yeah.
yeah, no, man, unless I get a review code, I'm not fucking with that thing. I did publicly say that I'm like, oh, I'm probably going to get roped back into Destiny because I know some of the guys on my show are going to play, but then it's like, ah, fuck, man, no, forget it. Like, I could be spending my time on other things.
On more fun games.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And it's not like we're short on games.
Hmm.
When Destiny came out, the first Destiny came out, there wasn't really anything out there.
Yeah.
By the way, throwing it back to what we were talking about before, the game that finally knocked me out of that Destiny loop was Shadow of Mordor. I was like, oh, thank God, I was like, finally something else to play.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it was weird. It's like I wanted to stop playing Destiny, but at the same time, I was still trying to get this one fucking gun. All my friends got this one assault rifle. I didn't get the shit. And I was like, maybe I'll get it tonight. Maybe I'll get it tonight.
Yeah, the grind was real.
Yeah, but I can't be playing games like that nowadays. Anyway, I'm a lot busier now than I was back in 2014. So I can't be playing games like that.
Yeah. Philip asks, Forza 7 or GT Sport?
None of them. I don't like sim racing games.
They look cool, and to me, they're like one of the best looking games on the market.
Oh yeah, they're beautiful. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But in terms of gameplay, it's like, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not into sim games, man. It's funny because I used to really like Gran Turismo 3 because I bought the PlayStation.
Oh, yes.
Or I bought the PlayStation 2 that came with it. I played the fuck out of that, right? I'm like, oh shit, this is crazy. And played that for a long time. And then I played Burnout 3. I'm like, why am I playing sim games? Like this is way like I'm actually having fun with this shit.
Because they look good. They look really
it looked great, yeah. But yeah, Gran Turismo or Forza Motorsport. I say Forza Horizon 4 when that comes out next year. I'll play that. Forza Horizon Motorsport, I'm not interested in. GT Sport, not interested in that, man. I want to play fun racing games. EA, bring back Burnout. I've been saying that shit for years. Bring it back.
Man. Burnout was so good.
God, remember Burnout Paradise was interesting because I was initially against the game. I'm like, why is it open world? Like that's not Burnout. That game ended up being one of the games I played the most last generation. I had so much fun playing that.
Nice.
I remember that game. I actually spent money to get the platinum in that. Let me explain that because there was a trophy where you had to take a picture of yourself with the PlayStation camera. I didn't have that shit.
Really?
So I went out and bought a PlayStation camera so I could take a picture and get that trophy so I could eventually get the platinum.
Ah, nice.
Yeah, Burnout, bring that back. There's a bunch of racing games they need to bring back. Bring back Midnight Club. Whatever happened to that, Rockstar?
Oh, shit. I haven't heard that name in a long ass time.
Bring that back, man. I love Midnight Club, But yeah. Sorry about that, dude. I'm not interested in either Gran Turismo or Forza.
There's of course God of War 4 coming out.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of new games, yeah. But that's really interesting to me. God of War. People are saying it should have ended with 3, but it's like they're introducing Norse mythology. So let's just hope that Odin isn't so much of a jerk as Zeus was.
Nah, he'll probably be worse. That's and it's funny because I was one of those guys initially where I was like, okay, that's it, end the series. You're good. You're good with 3. And then it came out with Ascension. I'm like, oh god, that's even more proof. You should just end the series. Ascension was horrible, and then I remember because the thing is the whole Kratos killing different pantheons of gods, that's been around for ages, man. Yeah. Like that's an idea like the developers had for ages, and I thought it was corny, right? But then I saw that first trailer, I'm like, oh man, that looks good. Mm-hmm. That looks fantastic. And it fits because think about it like this, right? Kratos is this god slaying dude, right? And most of the Greek pantheon, I'm just gonna say they're a bunch of sissies, right?
Yeah.
Going back to a conversation I had with 2 of the guys from Throwdown. This was years ago. We were on the subway after Comic-Con, and Emilio, he asked us like, "Hey, who's the god of war in Norse mythology?" Me and my boy Chris looked at each other. It's like all of them.
Yeah.
So Kratos fighting every god in Norse mythology works because every single one of them are freaking gods of war.
One way or another, yeah.
In one way, shape, or yeah. Even the peaceful ones like Baldur the Brave are still gods of war.
Yep.
Yep. So that'll be good. And I wrote this editorial, and I'm glad I could talk about it now. So basically, because again, I was still, even though I'm looking forward to the new God of War, I was still kind of on the fence because you saw the camera angle was all close and stuff. It's a little bit more of a personal story. I'm like, oh, I don't know, man. Then I played Hellblade. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. You guys just convinced me. If these guys could pull it off, Sony Santa Monica with their money, they could make that shit work. Like a more intimate story with Norse mythology, shit, I think they could pull it off, man. Like a more emotional, not like a bitch, but like a more emotional kind of Kratos, like where he actually shows vulnerability and shit, but it's still powerful. Look at Senua, right?
Yeah.
She's suffering through mental illness, but she's still a fucking badass.
Oh my gosh, she was an incredible badass, and not to spoil the ending, because that took me for a loop.
Yeah.
But like that made me think.
Yeah, dude.
Like
So
the
I'm like,
entire time.
yeah, no, definitely. So I'm like, okay, if they could pull off this kind of journey in Hellblade, the small game, they could pull that off in God of War. They could definitely pull it off. So I'm actually more excited for God of War now that after I've played Hellblade.
Oh yes.
I can't wait, man. That's gonna be fucking insane, And then the new trailer showed you he's not necessarily gonna be killing everything in front of him because the freaking world serpent shows up. You're like, oh, he's gonna fuck that thing up, and then you see it's like, oh wait, they're gonna be allies. This is interesting.
It's like, oh, like what are they going to do after Norse mythology? Because God of War, it's such a powerful, and it has like a really strong fan base and everything. But and this is just throwing it out there and just making a prediction, but I wouldn't be surprised if they included in some future God of War franchise, maybe 5 or 6, but they include like the mythos from India.
Yeah, I mean, again, that was one of the original plans where that Kratos would eventually go to every like world pantheon of gods and kill them all. Like basically, it's like, why don't these gods exist anymore? Oh, because Kratos killed them all, right? Like me personally, I want to see one where he fights the Egyptian gods. Set, Anubis, all that
Yes.
stuff. That'd be insane. Listen, I'm a huge fan of the Stargate show, so I would love to see that, man. It would be so awesome.
Oh man, that show is really good.
Yeah, SG1 was the fucking and ironically, Teal'c, he's the voice of Kratos now.
Really?
Christopher Judge. Before they had forgetting the guy, forgetting his name from Living Single. He was the voice of Kratos forever, right? But now they changed his voice to be Christopher Judge. I actually think that's a wise choice because again, I'm forgetting the guy's name, but basically the dude from Living Single, he put on a voice to be Kratos. I am the God of War. He put on a voice. If you see the new videos from God of War, Christopher Judge is just using his natural voice, which is great.
That tells you something right there.
Because the guy naturally has a deep voice, right? But at the same time, because he's not doing a voice, he could convey more emotions through it, instead of just being angry the whole time.
Yeah. Yep.
Christopher Judge is fucking awesome, dude. I met him at a Comic-Con years ago, man. I just fanboyed out.
Speaking of Comic-Con and comics, there's that new, well, not new, but it's 3 subjects actually.
Okay.
First, let's cover Doomsday Watch.
Oh yes, man.
We all know it started off with Flashpoint, and then it went to the Button, and when shit hits the fan, when Eobard Thawne says he saw God.
Yeah, and he was scared.
Mm-hmm. He was scared, and he was half melted, and it's like, oh, holy crap.
It's funny because, on paper, right, it sounds stupid. Hey, the Watchmen are going to be merged with the DC universe. Like, that's fucking retarded, right? But then you read the way they're interweaving these things. So it's basically the premise is that the reason the New 52 came out the way it was is because Dr. Manhattan fucked with the DC universe, right? He has that power, and it works great both like, as a story and as a meta commentary, because if you think about it, comic books in general, I'm talking about the entire comic book industry, they got a lot darker after Watchmen, right?
Yeah.
People were trying to tell those type of stories. They sucked all the fun and life out of comics, not in a bad way, but they did, right? And that's what they said about what Dr. Manhattan did with the New 52 is like he sucked all the love, the joy, and everything just became dark and grim. Like, oh my God, that is brilliant writing on Jeff Johns' part, man. So it's like DC going, yeah, guys, we fucked up. We're sorry. We're gonna fix it. We realize what we did here. Marvel would never do that, but
no,
DC,
God.
they realized exactly what went wrong and they're course correcting. And think about it like this. I remember like when the New 52 came out, I read those books up until the first 6 months, and I dropped all of them. Like, this is fucking trash. I had like with few exceptions, I'm still reading every single one of those Rebirth books, man. They're is so good. Even the ones I dropped, I didn't drop because I'm like, oh my God, this is horrible. It's like, I'm okay. I'm okay. I don't need to read this anymore. Yeah. It's not like, oh God, you know how many Marvel books I dropped because they were just fucking trash.
All right, what's your opinion on the Riri Williams?
Trash.
Yeah.
Trash.
It's like I know that they're trying to appease the SJWs and whoever.
Here's the thing: Marvel doesn't seem to understand now, right? The existence of Riri Williams is fine. I don't have a problem with that. The problem is the way they're presenting her. She's this perfect girl, right? That could do no wrong. Like, the biggest struggle she has is like, why do people think I'm so great? It's like, that's stupid.
Her friend did die in front of her.
Whatever, but it's like, heroes need something to struggle against, right?
Yeah.
She's not struggling against shit. Everybody loves her,
Yeah.
It's bullshit, so, and then, it's like, why is she in a book called Iron Man? Call her name's Ironheart. Just have a book called Ironheart. Actually, you know why, right? Because they know nobody's going to buy that book. Yeah. That's why. Yeah. That's why they made, Thor woman. They made,
Jane Foster.
Asian. It's like, because nobody would buy Amadeus Cho. Nobody would buy that shit. Nobody would buy Jane Foster.
Yeah.
Don't get me started on the whole Thor thing. Also, how are you going to take somebody's name? Thor is not a title.
It's their name.
Yeah, like when he was born, he was called Thor.
Mm-hmm.
It's stupid. Now everybody's like, oh, Odin's son. It's like, yo, you've known this guy for 30 years. You're calling him Odin's son all of a sudden? Come on, man.
Yeah.
It's bullshit. But yeah, no, DC Rebirth, they're doing it right. And the thing is, they're gradually giving you clues about what's going on here, with Dr. Manhattan and all that. They haven't been overt about it. Like, I think the most you saw, which was about a month ago, is you saw his blue hand and some quotations from Watchmen. But they're doing it very slowly, very methodically. It is brilliant, man. And even with DC's mini events, they're over quick. It's not like Marvel where they have these giant events that go fucking nowhere at the end, like Secret Empire. I don't know.
I do like Secret Empire. I do.
Oh man, every time they come up with a new issue, I'm like, why am I still reading this shit, man? But what do you like about it?
I like how they're taking the concept of the cube, and also what would happen if Hydra actually did succeed in quote unquote world domination.
Yeah, here's the thing. The premise of Secret Wars or Secret Empire is not bad. It's the execution I have a problem with,
Okay, all right.
It's the way it's written, the way that they're doing it. It's like, it's just stretched out. It doesn't have the impact it should. But the basic premise, I don't have a problem with. It's just the execution I have a problem with. Like, hey, an evil Captain America, we've never seen it before. That's interesting. I think Secret Empire would have worked better as like an Elseworld story. That way you could really go crazy,
Mm-hmm.
It was like, why, again, because I know some people were like, oh, you can't have Captain America be evil. Yeah, you can. You can have an evil Superman. Why can't you have an evil, Captain America? But it just should have been relegated to like a Elseworlds type of story, But yeah, I'm glad it's almost over because again, I read this shit every other week and I'm like, why am I reading this? Oh man. But they're on issue 9. They're about to come out with issue 10. And again, they expanded the series. I'm like, why, man? You should have just had this thing 6 issues and that's it.
Yep. And no, it's just. I don't want to spoil it, but when that particular character died, in the most recent issue, I was like, wow, really? You're going to pull that off?
Were you actually what feelings did you get from it? Because when I read, I'm like, oh, whatever. I
was caught off guard, I'll admit, but I was like, at the same time, with all the other certain heroes that had died, no, that particular person's time would have come anyways.
Yeah, but the thing is that, my thing is like, okay, because remember, at the heart of the story, it's all cosmic cube shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're going to bring them back, man.
And then you have the, that duplicate of you-know-who in that certain place.
Yeah, that's right. That's interesting. I'm like, where's this leading to,
But that's my worry right there. Is like they don't know really where to take it. No.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think they do either. The whole story's just been a mess, and now they're gonna do Legacy. That's probably gonna be trash,
Yeah. Yeah.
Generations is fucking stupid too. Basically, every Generations book that's come out is basically like, hey, the new version of the hero is way better than the old version. Get out of here, man.
Yeah.
Like you had one issue where you had Wolverine in his prime with X-23, and they're like, oh, X-23 is better than the original Wolverine. Get out of here with that bullshit. Fucking Jean Grey. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but this is what happened. Jean Grey. Okay, now let's take it back. So older Jean Grey, or Jean Grey in her prime, right?
Mm-hmm.
She was using the Phoenix Force, was fighting Galactus, right? Galactus fucked her up, right?
Yeah, of course. Here comes Galactus.
Yeah, here comes Jean Grey, 15-year-old Jean Grey from some alternate past, right? She punches Galactus one time, and that's it. The fight's over. She wins.
What?
I wish I was making this up. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me right now, Marvel?
It's to give kids hope and to see that, no, if you really work at it, you can overcome any obstacle. That's that's Marvel right there.
Yeah.
Pushing their agenda.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of their, quote unquote SJW cards like that, like they win every fight with a single punch. I'm like, really?
Yeah, where's the struggle?
Yeah, but I'm like, so you're telling me, and it's funny because the book's like, oh, this Jean Grey isn't as powerful as the older Jean Grey. She beats Galactus in a single punch. The Galactus that just finished beating up the fucking Phoenix Force.
And yeah, it was Galactus and versing old Thor, from yeah. You've read that one, right?
Oh yeah, I read that. Yeah, the Jack Kirby one.
Yeah, where his daughters came in.
Yep, I remember that.
It's like, oh my god! And then he had to use that same stone that the God Butcher used just to f up.
Yeah.
Galactus, and you're telling me that this young Jean Grey with one punch, what is she as strong as the Tribunal? Because if she is,
apparently she is.
Then the Tribunal ought to step in and be like, no, that's not happening.
Yeah. And here's the problem with Marvel, right? This may be a little bit of a tangent, but I got to say this. This is interesting. I was reading Cable #1 a couple months ago. Cable #1 is actually, the Cable series that's going on right now. It's actually a good Marvel book, right? So, in the back of it, the editor of that book, I forgot what his name is, but he was thanking his staff, right? And they had pictures of all his staff, his assistant editors. They were all like 24 years old, right? I'm like, what the fuck? And my initial reaction was like, okay, that's why these books have no editorial, no editorial direction. They have these, fresh out of college kids that don't know what the fuck they're doing, right?
Yep.
But then I started thinking about it even deeper, right? All right, take me, right? When I was 24, make me a Marvel assistant editor. What would you have had? You would have had a person that has read Marvel comics for 15 years. So I'm like, okay, the age isn't the problem here. They just hired a bunch of people that have never read any fucking comic books.
Yeah.
Because if you would have had me go in there to be an editor at 24 years old, and Jean Grey punches Galactus out in one punch, I would be like, no. And then I would point them to, like, this is what happens. Like, the Fantastic Four had to get rid of him using the Ultimate Nullifier because they couldn't fuck him up.
Yep. Well, here's the thing is, I don't think they have something like a power level chart or whatever, or a chart saying, here's a hierarchy, here's what certain people can do to these certain other individuals. So if that person is on the list, they can't fuck them up.
Yeah, but here's the thing. They used to have charts of that shit. Like, if you remember the old Marvel cards, they had their power levels right there in the back.
Mm-hmm.
And you had a character that had like above a 9, he was fucking nasty, like Galactus.
Galactus,
they used to have that shit.
Thanos. Yeah.
So now you have these editors that don't understand the history of Marvel. That's why you have these stupid continuity errors like that. And then the editors that should know better aren't doing anything to fix this stuff. Like Tom Brevoort's over there. That guy, he knows his Marvel comics, but he's not stepping in to do anything about this shit. It makes no sense. You know why? Because he's too busy on Twitter screaming about Trump,
Mm-hmm.
Like, come on, man. What the hell is wrong with you guys? Him, Dan Slott, and a couple of the other guys, all they do all day, every day on Twitter, either yelling at the fans or yelling about Trump. It's like, how about you actually focus on fucking books? You know?
Yep. Yep.
It's a sad state of affairs, man. I never in a million years would have thought that DC would overcome Marvel in terms of quality, right? And it's funny because when that thought first came to my mind, I was like, yo, if you would have told younger Tony that, he wouldn't have believed it. And I thought, no, you don't even have to go with younger Tony. If you would have told Tony from 2 years ago this shit, he wouldn't have believed you. You know, it's fucking crazy, man. But you know what? This is gonna be horrible for me to say it. I hope Marvel gets to a point where Disney has to go, you know what? You guys are fucking up. We're going to fire all you guys, and we're going to hire somebody that actually knows what they're doing here. Because this is embarrassing right now, you know?
Yeah, speaking, let me go sidetrack a bit.
Yeah.
Embarrassing Joss Whedon.
Oh. Man, I'm not going to get too much into it because I'm going to get in trouble. But, man, I'm going to say this, right? There was schadenfreude, man. I was feeling that shit because Joss Whedon, he talks so much shit. He goes on Twitter, right? Social media, claiming to be holier than thou, right? The ultimate feminist icon, right? Mm-hmm. And just like all these guys, they always get exposed. This guy's like a horrible misogynist, like using his position to fuck all these young women, It's the equivalent of like, a congressman that rallies against gay people. It turns out he's fucking gay too, Hypocrites, man. It's the same shit. It's like people in power. I don't care, and I'm talking about both sides of the aisle, left and right?
Yeah.
These people are always fucking hypocrites, man. It always turns out like that. Remember, what's his face? The idiot, Jack Thompson, right?
Yeah.
Saying video games are horrible. Video games are going to destroy the country. Turns out he had a bunch of skeletons in his closet. This guy was corrupt as shit. So was the guy, I forgot his name, Lee, right? He was another congressman who was trying to
Yep, I remember that.
Same thing. Corrupt as shit. All these guys get exposed. Every single one of them. So every time it happens, man, I love it. I fucking love it. And this isn't me like saying, oh, look, see what feminism, means. Like, no, it's not about that. It's like, if you have somebody that's so vehement about whatever the fuck they're talking about, they're probably a fucking hypocrite. They're trying to hide something. This is movie people, Congress people, even members of the clergy. All these guys are all fucking hypocrites, man.
And that's usually how it is.
And I'm so glad he got exposed because I was talking to my friends about this, and but while it was happening, I'm like, watch them cover his ass. No, they didn't cover his ass. They grilled his fucking ass.
Mm-hmm.
Good. I'm glad that happened. And here's the thing: I'm not one of those people that's like against Joss Whedon. Despite what I think of him as a man, I like his work.
Oh, he has an incredible portfolio. I will not argue against that.
Yeah, the guy, I love his work. Even, the Avengers, the first Avengers movie is still my number one favorite superhero movie of all time, right? Mm-hmm. That guy writes great dialogue, He's a talented person. But at the same time, as he's been proven, guy's a fucking scumbag,
Yep.
It's crazy, man. By the way, I don't know if you want me to talk about this, but I do want to quickly, since we're talking about, people that get exposed.
Yeah, go ahead.
Did you see the whole thing with Nick Robinson from Polygon?
No, I haven't. Haven't heard anything.
All right, so Nick Robinson, he's one of the writers of Polygon. He used to be on Revision 3, right, with Adam Sessler back in the day. So he was talking about some game. He was talking shit about some game, and he was like, it was a trailer for a game. And he's like, yeah, maybe they shouldn't have released that trailer. He was talking mad shit. And then some random woman came out and said, oh, he's like, oh, you're still, it's like, how about you spend less time shitting on developers? No, it's like, how about you spend less time, hitting up random women via DMs and, work and spend more time on your critiquing skills. And then all these women came out of the woodwork to say that he was like, soliciting them, like unwantedly and shit. Oh man, And at first, I'm gonna be honest. There was a little part of me was like, oh, here we go, another, SJW guy get exposed for being a dickhead, right? It turns out that he's actually kind of anti against that stuff. Like he's spoken out against people like Anita back in the day. So, the tinfoil hat theory is that perhaps, since he wasn't part of the crew, they wanted to get rid of him. I'm not saying that is what the case, but that's what people have been saying. Like, okay, they wanted him gone because he's not towing the line, right? But the reason I really want to base up is like, okay, this is what, I've been kind of, preaching for years. I'm like, if you're a guy in this industry, I guess this could go for women too. Do not try to hit on other people because it's going to backfire on you. I mean, in general, you shouldn't be hitting on coworkers.
Well, in my experience, yeah, and like when I was working at Good Game Studios, no, I went out with I was in a relationship with a coworker.
Okay.
And other people were too, and it's a messy deal. I will say that it's definitely a messy deal. But
yeah, you got to be careful, man. Like me personally, I'm not trying to get in trouble. Like and this is going on even before I became a quote unquote professional. I don't mess around with any women. I don't flirt with any of them. I don't do any of that. So I treat every woman the same as I would a man. Like just like I treat them with respect. You treat me with respect.
Yeah,
you know?
Same here. But it's just that if they show an interest, it's like I'm not going to turn it down.
Yeah, no, I feel you. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'll like, play around or whatever with like, girls that I know personally. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, I'm comfortable with you. We mess around, even though we, at the end of the day, we both know we're just friends anyway, right? But like, PR girls or whatever, nope.
Nope.
I keep that shit strictly professional. I remember one time, like, one of the PR girls, she's my friend now, so it's okay. But she hugged me, and I'm like, what do I do? I'm not trying to get in trouble, but obviously we're friends now, so it's fine. But like in general, I'm like, nope, I treat everybody, man or woman, with respect. Is I'm not trying to have anything come back to me at all. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So when I saw that initially, I was like, Nick, you fucked up, bro. What is wrong with you, man? And he came out to apologize. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about his apology. I thought it was a little bit kind of. A little bit, but at the same time, I understand why he needed to do it. And I do understand why Polygon had to let him go because they had to save face, you know?
For Anita.
They had to save face. So I understand that. But yeah, when I saw that, I'm like, oh, bro, no. Like, this is why I don't try to mess around with any women in the industry, man. I mean, even in real life, I try to be careful with women because I don't want to be slapped with like a sexual harassment suit or something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To me, it's simple. Like, you just treat people with respect, and you'll be all right. It's interesting.
That's
man.
normally how it should be.
Yeah. I mean, it's basic shit, but some people don't seem to understand that. And I know Nick was like, oh, it's like, as I grew, I didn't grow as a person, nonsense like that. It's like, dude, man, no, you should have, dude, the instant I got, like, hired by Ziv Davis, I'm like, Tony, don't say any crazy shit on Twitter anymore, man. Cut it the fuck out. And now that I'm verified, I'm sure I'm like, yeah, rein it back, son, because now they're going to, now there's a bigger spotlight on you,
Oh,
don't. I guess what I'm trying to say is at the end of the day, don't give these dudes ammo, man. Don't give anybody ammo to use against you.
It's difficult though, especially with what's been going on.
Yeah.
You just don't know who exactly you're going to, piss off.
Yeah, I'm really not getting into this, but like, for example, all this shit that's going on in the country, all the politics and all this other shit.
Yeah.
I have my opinions. I have very, very strong opinions. You won't hear them on Twitter. I'm not talking about that shit, Today I almost got into it. It's like, oh, this is why I don't do it. It was basically like somebody said that like, oh, I bet all those crazy Xbot fans, are Trump supporters, right?
Oh.
and I said, I'm like, actually, I kind of noticed that too. And then this other guy, he got pissed off about that. I'm like, oh, Tony, yeah, you fucked up. Even though I was just making a simple observation, I'm like, yeah, I noticed that the really zealot Xbox fans are all Trump supporters too. I'm not trying to say anything bad about Trump supporters. I have friends who are Trump supporters, but I have noticed that. But even that little innocuous thing almost got me into trouble. I'm like, Tony, this is why, man. Don't talk about that shit. And it's funny because, I'm old enough to, have come from the era where it's like you were taught, do not talk about politics or religion in front of people, Yeah. And I try to stick to that. But these guys, they weren't raised by that. They all day, every day, talk about politics. I'm like, can you talk about the thing I'm following you for? It's like that. And that's the other reason I don't do it. It's like people follow me because they want to hear about games, they want to hear about comics, they want to hear about, some of my crazy life stories, right?
Yeah.
Okay, no one comes to me for fucking politics. Why am I gonna just suddenly talk about that shit?
Yeah, it just gets messy, really.
It really does. So there's no benefit. I was talking to Eric Kane. He writes for Forbes, and he was talking about how like, oh, everything that's going on in the country, I feel that I need to speak out, which is fine. I understand that, and I told him like, no, it's actually very easy. just don't talk about it. Just don't talk. Like, people don't follow you for that. He's like, okay, I see where you're coming from. He's still talking about politics, which is his right, but I at least let him know that it's like there's an alternative. You don't need to talk about this shit 24/7.
Because like even if you are neutral on the subject, people would take in some other fashion.
Yeah, here's the thing, and I've said this many times. I am registered independent because I think Democrats and Republicans are both stupid, right?
No, yeah.
But so I have views that could be misconstrued either way. I've been called a crazy, conservative. I've also been called a fucking liberal, right? I've been called everything because I have views, that don't conform to everything. But because of that, because now you need to belong to a specific tribe, and that's all it is now. It's tribal mentality. I just don't say anything, man. It really is not going to benefit me at all,
Yeah. I mean, if it's going to hurt your viewership and your business practically, then it's like, why even bother?
Makes no sense. Especially because, the fact that I have friends I could just vent all this shit to. And nearly every episode of Throwdown, on the post show, which we never air, obviously, it's all politics. That's all we talk about. The shit that we can't say on air, or the shit we can't say on Twitter,
Yeah.
It's just interesting, man. But it's like, yeah, come on, guys. Stop, lay down with that politics shit. Just get back to, talking about the thing you're on Twitter for. Unless you're actually a political pundit, then sure, go ahead, go nuts. That's your livelihood. But me, I'm not talking about that stuff, man. I'm talking about fucking video games.
Yeah, it should only be about video games.
It's crazy, man. But anyway, on to better news. I called this. It's leaked. Yakuza Kiwami 2 is coming, man.
Oh, right. Okay. So I need to play the first Kiwami. The latest Yakuza game. I need to.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, have you played any of the Yakuza games before?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, so because I played 3, I love that game actually. Then I played Yakuza 0 over the summer. Fantastic game. I'm like, oh wait, I'm in a good position right now. I can start from scratch. So I'm gonna play Kiwami, which comes out next week. Then I'll buy Kiwami 2 when that comes out. Then I'll dust off the PlayStation 3 and I'll play 3, 4, and 5. I own all those games, but I only played 3.
Okay.
And then I'll get to 6 eventually. Yakuza's great, man. It's like the spiritual successor to Shenmue. Oh, Shenmue! Oh my fucking god!
Oh yeah, Dead Eyes.
Ooh, those Dead Eyes. And the thing is, like, okay, the trailer itself looked nice, right? Very, very good graphics, right? Beautiful colors, all that. But those eyes, son, those eyes. Oh. Why? Like, Rio looked like he was wearing a mask of Rio. It's crazy.
There's a game that was on the PlayStation 3, and they imported it from Japan. And it was basically like they used the characters from the Yakuza series.
Yeah.
But it was set in feudal Japan.
Oh yeah, I forgot the name of it. That's Yakuza something. Yeah.
And it was so good.
Man, they need to bring that and the zombie game over here.
Oh man. Why not?
I don't get it.
Like,
well,
sometimes I just don't get their decisions.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, oh, well, the fans wouldn't get it. It's like, do you even know your fans?
Yeah. I mean, I remember when Yakuza 3 came out, they took out Mahjong, and they took out the hostess shit. Like, oh, people wouldn't understand that. People were pissed,
Yep.
Okay, the new Yakuzas after that, they'll have those weird Japanese games. I don't know how to play them, but I'm glad that shit is in there, Like, I tried to play the Mahjong minigame. I'm like, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah.
There was Mahjong and Koji, I think it is. I forgot the name of it. But these weird Japanese games and stuff that I don't get. But if it's in the original game, why are you taking it out?
Exactly. I don't know. Maybe it's different. It's weird.
Shogi, by the way, Shogi. I'm talking about.
Okay.
That lets you know how much I know about these fucking games.
You failed.
But yeah, no, Yakuza Kiwami 2. That's probably gonna get officially announced. It's in a couple of days actually, because they're gonna have a big Yakuza event coming soon. So that's gonna be good. And here's what I hope. That was my first hope. I was like, I hope we get Yakuza Kiwami 2. Now we need Yakuza 3, 4, and 5 remastered on PS4. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, it would. Huh.
So we'll see. We'll see. I hope that's the case though.
That'd be interesting. But I'm surprised that speaking of games being ported over, that there isn't like a Dragon's Crown that hasn't been ported over yet to like the PS4 and Steam.
Yeah, that's weird. You know, Dragon's Crown was great, man.
Beautiful game,
Yeah, I
but
don't know why they. I don't know. I don't know why they import that. I don't know.
yeah,
Maybe they will. Vanillaware. That's a good studio.
it's one of the better studios, definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, this whole summer it's been great, and there's only so much more games that are coming out, and my wallet is broken.
Oh man, yeah. Like this is the first summer in a while where I'm like, oh, I got shit to play. Like in July, I played Nier Automata and Yakuza, so that finally finished off the backlog of the early 2017. And now, right now, I don't have a backlog, but it's probably gonna grow eventually.
It's always gonna grow.
Yeah, or I mean, I
Always.
don't have a backlog of 2017 games. I still have a backlog of games in general. But yeah, man, like this year, hold on, I wrote them down. There's a bunch of games I'm looking forward to. Hold on, pull this up real quick. So, so next month is a little bit light for me personally.
Hmm.
The only ones I'm getting for sure are Metroid, Samus Returns, and Cuphead. Cuphead looks good, man. And
Oh
yeah,
yes.
yeah, Cuphead looks fantastic. And then to October, here we go, man. Battle Chasers, which I've been waiting for a while. Shadow of War, Assassin's Creed Origins, Wolfenstein, and Super Mario Odyssey. By the way, those last three games come out on the same day.
On the same day.
Yeah, October 27th, Assassin's Creed, Wolfenstein, and Super Mario. Man, it's ridiculous.
But why?
Like, it's like, don't you guys coordinate with each other? I don't know, man.
That's different.
Yeah, and I still got to play. I have Uncharted, The Lost Legacy, but Amazon is always screwing me over. They got me the game yesterday, you know, and I couldn't play yesterday because I was, doing the podcast. And today I'm doing actually this entire weekend I'm doing a bunch of writing. So, no playing for me.
Makes you a doll boy.
Yeah, right. Pretty much.
Shit.
It's all good, man. But anyway, dude, I'll let you go for now, man. Thank you for inviting me. It's always fun to talk to you over here and
Yeah.
all that.
Yeah, same here, man. And it's been really good talking about like the comic books and the fall of Marvel.
Yeah, but yeah, man, you guys could follow me over on Twitter at Romudeth, ROMUDETH. And
Mhm.
my profile is going to have links to all the places I work for.
Yep, like Geek.com, Coalition.
Yeah, man.
Yep.
And your boy's even writing some shit for IGN, man.
Oh, nice. Yep.
Yeah, doing
Yep.
some tech reviews. I actually got a keyboard I'm going to review for them this weekend, so it's going to take me a while. And I reviewed a couple of headsets, which are probably, those reviews will be posted soon. It's cool, man, because I've never reviewed tech before, but I'm not going to pass up the opportunity, especially because of IGN. Even though it's still under the Ziff Davis umbrella and all that,
Yep.
it's cool.
Hmm. Just a little bit briefly,
Yeah.
what is, because I've been looking for new headsets. What's your opinion on like the best headset available?
Oh man, again, I'm still a newbie when it comes to this stuff. But I
Mm-hmm.
know if you want like a nice affordable headset, the Astro A10s are really good. But if you want something a little bit more fancier, the A40s I'm told are really really good. I don't have
Okay.
personal experience with them, but I know a lot of my friends that have them, and they like recommended Astro A40s. But if
Astro
you want something
Force. All
cheaper,
right.
the A10s are really good too.
All right. Sounds good. Sounds good. Well,
Pretty awesome.
thank you again, Tony. And we'll have to do this another time.
Definitely, bro.
Yep. And who knows? Maybe in the fall, because there's gonna be Call of Duty and so many other games coming out then.
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely have me back for the fall, and we'll talk about all the craziness going on at that time.
And all the hot exclusives for Microsoft too.
Oh, yeah,
But
the hottest.
all right, man. You take
All right,
care, and thank you everyone else for hanging out.
all right, peace out, people.
Yep. See yous.